You can measure water? You can measure water and get a curve. I've heard people say this. They say they're measuring water and getting a curve. And I said, how'd you do that? And they said, oh, I use a theodolite. And I was like, ooh, a theodolite. What's a theodolite? So I looked it up, and I was like, okay, what is this thing that measures water? Is it actually measuring water, or is it measuring the air? These globers have a really hard time with words. They say things that just aren't true. So they say they're measuring water when they're measuring the air. So a theodolite is a precision optical instrument for measuring angles between designated visible points in the horizontal and vertical planes. You can go onto any definition of a theodolite and you will get the words plane, you will get the words flat, and you will get the words horizontal, and you will get the words lines. Theodolites are used to measure air, and they're used to measure horizontal lines. They're used to measure planes. Now you said you measured the water. The water. You run the water through an instrument and you got a curve. You ran the theodolite over the water from an angle on a cliff, looking down on it, and you got a curve. I want to see this peer reviewed by a land surveyor. I happen to know one. I know a land surveyor. I ran this stuff through him, and he goes, yeah, you can't do that. He's like, we measure straight lines, man. He's like, he's like, what do you mean the Earth isn't a sphere? It's a sphere. And I go, because of the pictures? He goes, yeah, because of the pictures. And I go, okay, well, besides that, with your line of work, and he does this every day for a living, he does this for government contracts, he does this for private contracts, he goes out and measures straight lines. And he goes, yeah, we measure straight lines. You can have straight lines it's just the plane within the sphere. But yeah, there's planes all over the place. And I go, well, what about the ocean? He goes, well, yeah, it's just a plane. It's one big plane. And I was like, it's not curved, right? And he goes, well, no, it's not curved. It's called sea level. And I go, you're right. And that's why we're saying the Earth is flat. And he goes, oh. I go, could you measure the water and get a curve? And he goes, no. He goes, no. You would never know. You would never know from your theodolite. You would never know from your sextant. You just wouldn't. It's just impossible. And you guys are saying you're measuring water when you're measuring the air. You guys are a bunch of dorks. Will someone please explain to me why you can't see the Earth spin from the International Space Station? I was just watching a live stream recently from NASA, and they showed the astronauts working on the space station, and then you saw the Earth, and it wasn't moving. You couldn't see it move. Now, they say you can't feel it move on Earth, and I don't remember their explanation. They say something about it's moving uniformly, whatever that means. Or it's moving 1,000 miles at the equator or something like that, 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. I don't know what it's moving here in New York. I don't know where it's moving where you are. I don't know what speed it's moving at. But why can't they see it at a mile above the Earth? Why can't they see the Earth spin? I mean, I've heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say, we have pictures of it spinning. No, we don't. No, we don't. There's CGI images of it spinning. There's those Hamari 8 satellite images, but those aren't real. You think those are real? Those are real? The International Space Station photos where they're above the Earth, it's not spinning. On a clear day where the water is calm, go out and measure the water from the bottom up. So get buoys and then connect the buoys to a string and then measure from the water to the string. Very clear day. No, you'll get a little bit of a fluctuation, but you will actually be able to do the 8 inches per mile square without them saying height of the observer and where's the horizon line. At 1 mile, it's 8 inches. At 2 miles, it's 32 inches. And at 3 miles, it's 72 inches if the Earth is 25,000 miles in circumference from measuring from the bottom up. And you can measure from the bottom up on a clear day. You can measure from the bottom up. Now, the surveying equipment and the theodolites and stuff do that. And they show it's flat, and they show it's fixed, and they show it's stationary. And you won't find any land surveyors to say otherwise. You won't have any land surveyor peer review any of these dorks on the internet saying they're measuring the air and getting it to be curved. What a dork. If the sun's 93 million miles away, why doesn't the sun set then uniformly on the southern and northern hemisphere at the same time? Isn't the sun beaming its light from 93 million miles away? If it's that big and that far away, and the Earth is a sphere, and we see pictures of Australia and it's on one side of your sphere, and we see pictures of North America and South America and it's on one side of your sphere, and then the sun is beaming its light on it, why doesn't the sun set at the same time in those places? I know. It's because the sun's local and the sun's close, and it's moving slow in the summertime around the North Pole, around the center of the Earth, around the magnetic mountain in the middle of the Earth, and then it's moving away from the Earth, circling out. And in the winter, it's moving fast, and it's moving around the edge of the Earth, and then it moves back in, and then it moves back out. And that's why we have local sunsets, and that's why we have local time zones. At 93 million miles away, you would have the sun setting uniformly, but we don't. We don't have the sun setting at the same time on the West Coast as we do on the East Coast. At noon, when the sun is the highest in the sky where I am, it's not in the highest in the sky where you are, because the sun has already moved. It has nothing to do with the rotation of the Earth. It has to do with the sun moving in and out of your view. And when it moves in and out of your view, it's dropping off of your perspective because you're seeing it at an angle because of your vanishing point. It's still in the sky and it's still moving horizontally, but you're seeing it move vertically because of where you're standing. And I know you guys have a hard time with one thing is true, therefore everything is true, because life is not about 1 and 2. It's about 3 and 4 sometimes. And 4 is the sun. 4 is in a fourth dimension. The sun is in the fourth dimension. You are in the third dimension. The plane is in the 1 and the 2 dimensions. You can't seem to handle that. Now, your sphere, you would just never know. You would never be able to prove it. And you guys think that the pictures are real, but why don't you think the video games are real? No one's ever answered me that question. Why don't they think the video game pictures are real? Why don't they think the universal picture is real? How do they decipher the difference between fake pictures and real pictures? No one's ever been able to answer me that question. I want you to tell me, when you look at the video games, when you look at Universal's pictures, what words happen in your brain that tell you that it's different than NASA's pictures? You're a bunch of dorks. Why haven't we been back to the moon? Why haven't we been, and on top of that, why haven't NASA taken any flat earthers up to the International Space Station? Don't they go up there like every month? Why aren't we allowed to go and audit NASA? And I would go, and a lot of other flat earthers would go. I'm a very honest person. I would film the whole experience. Take me to the International Space Station. Let's go. Let's do a field trip. Take me to the ice wall. Let's go. Why don't they let us do these things? The more you guys try to debunk flat earth, the more you're going to end up exposing the fact that they're hiding something. Are they hiding the fact that the earth is flat? That's what I think they're hiding. What do you think they're hiding? You're going to find out really soon that they're hiding something. Is there an international treaty that says you can't explore Antarctica? Now, you guys say there isn't. And then it turns out there is. And you go, oh, but it's for climate change, world peace. Okay. But at first you said it wasn't. No, I'm saying it's because they're hiding the shape of the earth. I think they're hiding the shape of the earth by not letting you go to Antarctica. Now, I think we could go there secretly, and I don't have enough money to, but you guys do. You guys make a lot of money on your shows, so let's go. The Daniel's ready for a field trip. Let's go. I'm ready to go. I'll go to the International Space Station. I'll get on a space shuttle. I'll go to the ice wall. Either one. Either one work. Either one will prove it. So let's prove it. Let's go. Let's take a field trip.